My wife laughed. Not a small laugh, a loud one. Right there in the middle of the New York divorce courtroom. The sound bounced off the walls. People turned. Her lawyer smiled too. My wife leaned back in her chair and said, "Your Honor, he thinks he can represent himself." More laughter. Someone behind me whispered, "This should be good." I didn't say anything. I just stood there, hands folded, calm. The judge looked at me over his glasses. "You understand the risk, sir?" he asked. "Yes, Your Honor," I said quietly. Across the room, my wife shook her head. 40 years of marriage, and she looked at me like I was a stranger, or worse, like I was a fool. Then she leaned toward her lawyer and whispered something, and they both smiled again. But what they didn't know was this. I wasn't there to win an argument. I was there to reveal the truth. And in my inside pocket, there was one message, just one, a message the judge hadn't seen yet, a message that would change the entire room. What they didn't know was, this divorce wasn't starting today. For me, it started months ago, the night I saw something on her phone, something she thought I would never notice. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 62 years old. I worked 35 years as an engineer in New York. Quiet life, simple life. My wife Linda and I met when we were young. We raised 2 children, paid our mortgage, built a retirement together. At least, that's what I thought. 3 months before the divorce filing, something small happened. So small, most people would miss it. Linda left her phone on the kitchen counter. A message popped up, just a preview. 4 words. Did he sign yet? I wasn't snooping, but those words stayed in my mind. Did he sign what? Later that night, she took a long shower. Her phone buzzed again. Another message preview appeared. "Once the house is yours, we're free." My stomach turned. I didn't open the phone. I didn't argue. I didn't accuse her. Instead, I made coffee, sat at the table, and waited. Because after 40 years with someone, you start to notice patterns. Linda had been different lately. Secret phone calls, late shopping trips, sudden interest in our finances. Then one evening she said something strange. "Daniel, maybe we should update the property paperwork." At the time, I nodded, but inside, something felt wrong. So I did something I had never done before. I started paying attention, quietly, carefully, and within 2 weeks, I realized something painful. This divorce was not a surprise. It was a plan, and I was the target. But Linda had made one mistake. She believed I was slow. She believed I was harmless. She believed I would panic. What she didn't know was this. I had already started preparing. The day Linda officially filed for divorce, she looked almost cheerful. She slid the papers across the table like it was a restaurant bill. "I think this is best for both of us," she said. Her voice sounded rehearsed, cold. I read the papers slowly. She wanted the house, most of the savings, and half of my retirement. 40 years of work, gone. I looked up. "Is there someone else?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just shrugged. That's not the point. But it was the point. That night I sat alone in the living room. I sat alone in the same living room where we had raised our children. Everything looked the same, but it didn't feel the same anymore. I thought about our first tiny apartment, the secondhand furniture, the years we struggled together. Back then we had nothing except trust, or at least that's what I thought. The strange thing was, I didn't feel angry, not yet. I felt something else, disappointment, like finishing a long book and realizing the ending wasn't honest. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. It was my daughter. "Dad, are you okay?" I paused before answering. "I will be," I told her. And in that moment, something changed inside me. I wasn't going to fight with shouting. I wasn't going to beg, and I definitely wasn't going to let 40 years end in humiliation. Instead, I made a decision, a quiet one. If Linda wanted the court, then the court would hear everything, every plan, every lie, every message. But first, I needed proof, and proof requires patience. So the next morning, I began watching. People think revenge is loud. It isn't. Real revenge is quiet. Weeks passed. Linda believed I was confused. She talked freely on the phone, sometimes right in front of me. One night I heard her say a name, Mark. The name came up later, then again. I didn't confront her. Instead, I started organizing documents, bank records, property records, old emails. Linda had recently asked me to sign something about the house. A simple update, she said. I looked closer. It would transfer ownership into her name alone. I never signed it. Instead, I kept a copy. Then something unexpected happened. One afternoon, Linda left her laptop open. An email was on the screen. From Mark. I didn't touch anything, but the preview said enough. Once the divorce is done, we'll sell the house and move to Florida. My chest felt tight. 40 years. And she had already planned the next life, without me. But the real shock came later. A few days after that, I finally saw the full message. Not by hacking, not by sneaking. Linda showed it herself. She was arguing with Mark on speakerphone, and she didn't realize I was in the hallway. I told you, she said, once Daniel signs the property transfer, everything is ours. Ours. That word echoed. In that moment, the entire puzzle snapped together. The divorce wasn't just about leaving, it was about taking. And Linda believed the court would see me as the weak old husband, the easy target. That night, I contacted someone quietly. Not a lawyer, a financial investigator, a man who knew how to track digital records. 2 weeks later, he sent me something interesting. A screenshot. One message, just one, sent from Linda to Mark. And when I read it, I knew exactly what would happen in court, because that message wasn't just betrayal, it was evidence. The first court hearing was short, mostly paperwork. Linda arrived with a confident smile. Her lawyer did most of the talking. "He's unprepared," the lawyer told the judge. "He doesn't understand the process." Linda nodded beside him. I stayed quiet. Then the judge asked me something simple. "Mr. Carter, will you be hiring legal counsel?" "No, Your Honor." Linda laughed again, just like she did today. But something small changed in the room. The judge didn't laugh. He studied me for a moment. Then he said something interesting. "Very well, but I advise both parties to be fully transparent with financial disclosures." Linda's smile tightened slightly. It was the first crack. Small, but real. Outside the courtroom, she walked past me. "Daniel," she said softly, "you're embarrassing yourself." I looked at her calmly. "No," I replied, "I'm just getting started." She rolled her eyes and walked away. But what Linda didn't know was the real hearing was still coming, and the message in my pocket hadn't been read yet. Which brings us back to today, the final hearing. New York Divorce Court. Linda laughing, her lawyer confident, the judge reviewing documents. Then the judge turned to me. "Mr. Carter, do you have anything to present?" The room went quiet. I reached into my inside pocket, pulled out my phone. "Yes, Your Honor." Linda sighed loudly. "This should be interesting." I handed the phone to the clerk. "Please display the message dated March 14th. The screen lit up. A text conversation appeared. Linda's name, Mark's name, and one message highlighted. The judge leaned forward. He read silently at first, then his eyebrows rose slightly. The judge read it once, then again, and this time he read it out loud. "Once Daniel signs the house transfer, we'll finalize the divorce and sell everything." The room went still. No laughter now. Linda's face drained of color. Her lawyer grabbed the document quickly. "Your Honor." But the judge held up a hand. "Is this message authentic?" "Yes, Your Honor," I said calmly. Linda shook her head. "That's taken out of context." The judge looked back at the screen. Then he read the next message, Linda's message. "After 40 years, he still trusts me. It will be easy." The silence in that room felt heavy. Not angry, just final. The judge leaned back slowly. Then he looked directly at Linda. "Mrs. Carter, this appears to show intent to manipulate marital assets." For the first time all day, Linda had nothing to say.
The ruling took 2 weeks, but the outcome was clear. The court denied Linda's property request. The house remained shared until sale. Assets were divided fairly, and the attempted transfer was noted in the official record. Mark disappeared quickly after that. Funny how some people vanish when money does. Linda moved into a small apartment across town. We don't speak now, not out of anger, just distance. Our children still visit me often. Sometimes we sit in the backyard, drink coffee, talk about normal things, and slowly, life feels quiet again. Peaceful. Not perfect, but honest. And at my age, honesty is worth more than victory. I still remember that moment in court. The laughter, the smiles, the way people assumed the quiet man would lose. But here's something life teaches you after 60. Patience is powerful. Truth is patient. And dignity is stronger than anger. Sometimes the calmest person in the room is the one holding the truth. So I'm curious, if you were in my place, would you have exposed the message in court or walked away and started over? Let me know in the comments. And if stories about patience, justice, and quiet strength speak to you, consider subscribing. There are many more stories to tell.